No rewrite, no delay, no better version on the way. I step outside with what I have, not polished, just intact. The mirror didn't promise much, the plan still feels half drawn, but standing here is enough, so I move it forward calm. I used to wait for confidence, for something sharp and clean. Turns out it never shows up if you keep waiting to begin. I don't need the perfect cue or timing that aligns. I just need to keep this going with the body that is mine. This isn't settling, it's staying present, it's choosing progress that's honest as is. No edits applied, I don't fix the flaws, I run with the facts as is. Still moving fine, I'm not upgraded, I'm just alive as is. New before and after, I don't pause the story to make it matter. Some days feel unfinished, like I missed the point, but I showed up anyway, that's a choice. I've learned that momentum doesn't ask for proof, it grows from repetition, not a sudden truth. I leave space in the effort, room in the breath, I don't squeeze till they try to impress the rest. I'm done chasing a cleaner start, I'd rather keep going with the cards I've got as is. Still in the frame, not a highlight, but it stays as is. No filter tone, I don't need to shine to keep this road as is. Uncut and clear, I don't change the scene, I remain here. There's a strength in not correcting every crack you see, and letting the pace exist without an apology. I've seen people wait for better and miss the now. I'd rather be imperfect than disappear somehow. The sense of confidence of consent to keep moving forward with what I am. I don't need to look ready, you actually be. Readiness grows from continuity. I just want exposure more than a flash. This life makes sense when it's allowed to last. As is still enough, I don't trim the edges, I keep the rough. As is built to stay, I don't restart myself, I continue today. As no cream to bite, I don't wait to arrive, I'm already fine. No edits or excuses, still here. No intro music, no clean start, just shoes by the door and a half-ready heart. Calendar full, but the reasons then still stepping outside, letting the real day in. There's no angle here that flatters the truth, no pause to explain what I'm pushing through. I don't look driven, I don't look brave, I just look like someone trying not to fade. This isn't the version, pick or repost, it's the one that survives when the edits are gone. This isn't an uncut life, no highlights to hide, just a long middle and staying alive. Uncut light, no cue, no sign, I don't chase a moment, I keep the line. Uncut light, rough but mine, I'm not here to impress, I'm here to continue. I've skipped the drama, learned what it cost, watch people burn bright, then quietly stop, so I leave room in my effort, space in my pride. I don't go all in just to feel alive. Some days don't feel meaningful, they just pass, but they stack into something that actually lasts. No camera waiting, no reason to pose, just another choice. Oh wait, I'll know this isn't an uncut life, still moving slow, not the best version, but the one I can hold. Uncut life, still intact, I don't need proof, I need impact. Uncut life, built to remain, I don't peak and disappear, I stay in the frame. There's a quiet strength in not explaining, in doing the work without translating. No metaphor needed, no story arc, just choosing again in the dark. I don't need it to look good, I need it to be real. That only motivation, that is something I can feel. Oh, I've learned the long run is no see unseen, 1,000 small exits you don't take in between. And cool at the moment, and my orange ran up as they were a nuke, like everything lined up. What they didn't film will still walk back home, breathing slowing down, feeling heavy alone. The light shuts off right after the frame, and life keeps moving exactly the same. No music swelling, no reason to stay, just shoes by the door and another day. I used to live for what would shine, now I'm learning what survives time. I live beyond the highlight, past the perfect shop where nothing looks impressive, but everything holds. Beyond the highlight, after the cheer, when the only question left is why I'm still here. Beyond the highlight, no crowd inside. I don't need the moment, I need the life. I've seen people vanish right after their peak. They won the night, but last the weeks they gave it everything all at once, then wondered why nothing responded. So I leave something in the tank room in my chest. I don't empty myself to feel my best. I'm not afraid of being unseen, I'm afraid of burning clear. Beyond the highlight is where I stand, not where it looks good, but where I can. Beyond the highlight, still choosing slow, I don't trade tomorrow for a single glow. Beyond the highlight, quiet and real, I don't need proof, I need to heal. There's a strength that never trends, it doesn't rise, it just extends. It shows up tired, still decides to lace the when up the eyes. That kind of courage doesn't pose, it keeps going when nobody knows. I stopped asking if this will be seen, started asking if this lets me be stay, be whole, be here when the highlight gets full. Beyond the highlight, I make my home in the space I walk alone. Beyond the highlight, no need to prove, I don't chase the clip, I choose the move. Beyond the highlight, still in the race, up for the moment, but for the pace. Lights off, still moving, that's enough. Everyone loves the picture, taken at the highest point. Hands up, breath's gone, caption says worth it. What they don't post is the morning after, stares feel longer, silence hits harder. I stood where the air gets thin, where everything feels earned, but nobody talks about what you trade to be confirmed. I've learned the math behind our flaws, the part they edit out. The cost isn't in the moment, it's the weeks that follow now. This isn't hesitation, it's experience. I've seen the side effects of confidence. Summit with side effects, that's what it was. A perfect view with a hidden clause. Summit with side effects, short-term high, long-term questions your body out. Summit with side effects, I read the page, I still want the climb, just not that way. I don't hate ambition, I just know its tone. It whispers just once, then leaves you alone. I've seen strong people disappear for a while, not from weakness, from going all in too loud. So I keep space in the stride, room in the plan. I don't need to scan my future to prove who I am. They call it playing safe, I call it staying able. I want my strength to be stable. Summit with side effects, I'm not blind, I know the rush, I felt that shine. Summit with side effects, not impressed by 10 loud seconds and months of rest. Summit with side effects, I adjust, I still believe, I just don't rush. There's courage and restraint, nobody cheers, choosing to last over disappearing years. It's not fear that slows me, it's clarity. I don't need proof at the cost of continuity. I learned the real flex is showing up again like a peak. sunlit, heard her calling my name, promising something electric, then billing me for the flame. I know how fast it feels when everything says go. I also know the silence when it takes longer to heal. There's a look you get at the edge when the plan starts to bend, when pride says just this once and tomorrow becomes pretend. I've learned to pause that moment, let it pass like a train. I don't need to board it to know where it's been. This isn't fear, it's memory, it's choosing longevity. That's why I don't chase the peak, I don't need that view. I've seen how fast it disappears when the fall comes through. That's why I don't chase the peak, I keep my feet. I'd rather be consistent than briefly complete. I've watched the highlight version, win a night, lose a year. The story looks great on paper till the quiet gets weird. So I leave room in the effort, air in the stride. I don't need to scare my future to feel alive. I build days that repeat, not moments that explode. I don't want a single miracle, I want a road. They peak, I plan, they burn, I stand. That's why I don't chase the peak, I choose the long line. Not the sharpest rise, but the one that's mine. That's why I don't chase the peak, still hungry, still here. I don't trade the seasons for a souvenir. I've been to the edge before, I know how it talks. It says prove it now, it never mentions the cost. Courage changed its language after pain that feet. It stopped saying all or nothing and started saying be. Be steady, be honest, be able to return. There's a different kind of power unless it's learned. I don't need the loudest version to know I'm strong. I need the one that lets me keep going long. Some winds don't sparkle, they stay alive. They don't go viral, they stay alive. That's why I don't chase the peak, watch me stay. I don't need the headline, I need another day. That's why I don't chase the peak, I choose repeat. I didn't lower the tree, I widened the street. That's why I don't chase the peak, still moving me. The wind is of a height, it's the continuity. I don't chase the peak, I do the path, still here. I stopped counting good days, started counting returns. How often I can show up after what the body learns. The rush doesn't tempt me like it used to do. I've seen what burns bright and what carries you.
I don't need to spike the effort to feel alive. I need a pace that keeps me coming back outside. Every small decision adds weight to the years. I choose the kind of strong that outlives fear.
This isn't patience, it's design, it's choosing. The longer line, longevity wins. That's the bet I place. Not the fastest lap, but the one I can't repeat. Longevity wins, quiet and clear. I don't need the moment, I need the years.
Yeah, I've watched careers end on a perfect day. Everything aligned once, then faded away. So I leave margin in the stride, room in the plan. I don't chase the edge, I understand.
There's pride in durability, grace and control. I don't have to empty myself to reach the goal. They peak, I persist, they flare, I resist. Longevity wins, still moving me. Not the loudest version, but the one that's free. Longevity wins, built to stay. I don't outrun tomorrow, I invite it in.
Some days look look unimpressive on paper and screens, but they stack into something that nobody sees. Strength isn't dramatic, it's consistent and calm. It knows when to press and when to keep form.
I've learned the long game isn't slow. It's just honest about what you owe.
I don't trade weeks for seconds or seasons for pride. I've learned how to grow without stepping aside. There's courage and maintenance, power and care. The wind is still moving when others aren't there.
Longevity wins, that's my truth. I didn't lower ambition, I extended the proof. Longevity wins, still in motion. I don't chase a finish, I build an ocean. Longevity wins over time. I don't need to arrive fast, I need to arrive fine.
Not flashy, not fragile, still here.
I woke up feeling capable, not unstoppable. No cape, no soundtrack, just functional. There's a switch I used to flip straight to max. Now I scroll the options first, check the facts. I know a full send cause I pay that fee. Today I choose the version that still needs me. I've learned how tempting power feels when silence gets loud. How easy it is to chase a road just to stand out. But hero mode isn't broken, it was just misused. I don't turn it off, I today. This isn't playing small, it's playing long. It's knowing where I belong. Hero mode settings adjusted, still brave, still true. I don't need to burn it down to come through. Hero mode settings adjusted, clear my head. I'm not less heroic, I'm better led. I've seen what happens to the ones who never slow. They disappear between seasons, nobody knows. I don't wanna highlight that cost me weeks. I want a strength that shows up when life repeats. So I'll leave some space in the effort, air in the plan. I don't need to win the moment, I need to stand. They max out, I fine tune, they flash, I sustain. Hero mode settings adjusted, holding pace. Not the loudest version, but the one that stays. Hero mode settings adjusted, built to last. I don't rush the ending, I outlast. There was a time I thought courage meant never checking in. Now I see how much strength it takes to begin again and again, without self-destruct, without calling exhaustion bad luck. Control isn't boring, it's a skill. It keeps the hero alive when the thrill won't. Because bravery that ignores limits eventually breaks, and the future needs a body that still waits. I don't need the hardest setting to feel real. I need one that lets me choose how much I feel. There's pride in restraint, there's honor in range. I didn't lose the edge, I rearranged. Hero mode settings adjusted, that's my play. I didn't shrink the mission, I extended the game. Hero mode settings adjusted, still fire inside. I'll prove it in one run and prove it over. Hero mode settings adjusted, still me. I didn't lower the standard, I changed the strategy. Same heart, rules still moving. I woke up with a spark today, not the reckless kind. The one that asks a question first before it draws a line. I've learned the difference between bold and blind, between chasing noise and protecting time. There's a version of brave that rushes, another that waits. One burns for a moment, one calibrates. I felt the pull to overdo, then let it pass. Courage doesn't always floor it, sometimes it checks the gas. This isn't caution tape, it's intent, it's knowing where courage meant. Courage, but make it sensible, that's how I play. I don't need to scare myself to stay brave. Courage, but make it sensible, clear and kind. I don't dim the fire, I mind the flame. I've chased applause through suffering, worn pain like proof. Learned how fast excitement turns fragile truth. Now I choose the boring option that quietly wins, the kind that keeps me available for what begins. I don't confuse intensity with commitment. I don't empty tomorrow for a better sentence.
They rush, I reason. They burn, I season. Courage but make it sensible. Still moving on. Not the loudest stride, but the one that's long. Courage but make it sensible. Built to last, I don't chase the edge, I pass it. There was a time I thought brave meant never easing up. Now I see how much strength it takes to choose enough. Courage learned a new language, it sounds like restraint. It asks what stays intact, not what looks great. Because the hardest flex is walking away from a moment that shines, but won't let you stay. Courage but make it sensible. That's my rule. I didn't dull ambition, I sharpened the tool. Courage but make it sensible. Still true, I didn't lower the bar, I chose how to clear it. So not timid, not tame, just aim. I found a building in my chest, that urge to overdo. The part of me that thinks bravery means breaking through. But courage didn't shout today, it didn't need a crowd. I waited in the margins, calm, precise, unbowed. I've learned how easy it is to confuse force with truth. How often all in just waste the proof. So I slow the moment down, let the signal land. Courage doesn't always push, sometimes it takes my hand. This isn't hesitation, it's design. It's knowing where the lines align. Measured courage, that's how I move, not fearless, just choosing what I can lose. Measured courage, quiet and clear. I didn't dodge the challenge, I faced it from here. There were days I chased the edge, called a strain a flaw. Learn how fast momentum turns into withdrawal. Now I run with intention, space in every mile. I don't need to scare myself to go a while. I've learned which risks compound, which only drain. Courage is selecting whichever remains. They rush, I balance. They burn, I manage. Measured courage, still moving in. Not the loudest version, but the one that's free. Measured courage, built to last. I don't trade the future for a moment's past. Mirror, there was a time I thought brave meant never stepping back. Now I see how much strength it takes to stay intact. Courage learned to listen before it learned to lead. It asked a better question than how much speed. Because the hardest thing isn't giving more, it's stopping at enough when you could pour. Measured courage, that's my rule. I didn't dull the blade, I sharpened the tool. Measured courage, still true. I didn't lower the bar, I chose how to clear it. Not loud, not late, just deliberate. I felt the pull to prove it, to answer every doubt. The kind of urge that says if not now, then you're out. But something older in me didn't raise its voice, just stood there calmly and asked for a choice. I've learned the sound of warning, it doesn't shout or beg. It feels like a pause in the stride, a weight behind the leg. Not fear, not hesitation, just space to think it through. The strength to stop advancing when advancing isn't true. This isn't weakness, it's command. It's knowing when to stand. Strong enough to step back, that's what I became. I didn't lose the moment, I refused the flame. Strong enough to step back, still holding ground. I didn't turn away from effort, I turned it down. I've charged
into the pressure, thinking brave meant loud. Learned a fast momentum can disappear in a crowd. Some wins cost more than they give, some speed just steals. I've learned to read the difference between hype and real, so I leave room in the plan, air in the day. I don't need to conquer everything to stay my way. They rush, I listen. They burn, I position. Choose the shortcut, I chose what's ahead. Strong enough to step back, still in the race. I don't need to touch the limit to know my place. No, there was a time I thought courage meant never yielding ground. Now I know some ground is kept by knowing when to turn around. Stepping back isn't shrinking, it's set in the frame. So when I move forward again, I'm still the same. Because control isn't passive, it's an active skill. It's choosing restraint when you know you could kill. Strong enough to step back, that's my line. I didn't abandon ambition, I refined. Strong enough to step back, still moving through. I didn't walk away from pressure, I outgrew. Oh, not retreat, not fear, just clear.
I used to fill every gap with effort, noise, demand. Now I leave a little air between the plan and the land. The pace feels wider than before, room in every step. I'm not running from ambition, I'm running with respect. I learned how thin the line is between sharp and snapped, how strength disappears when everything's maxed. So I stopped squeezing the moment, let the edges breathe. What stays flexible under pressure is what actually leads. This isn't holding back, it's holding space. It's knowing what to say. Margin is strength, that's what I found. The space I leave today keeps me around. Margin is strength, not less, not slow. It's how I move forward without breaking the flow. I don't empty the tank on purpose, I keep something in reserve. So when the road bends late, I still have nerve. I've seen what all in costs when tomorrow still exists. I'd rather arrive intact than win a fleeting risk. There's power in not proving it, letting results wait. I don't need to dominate, I need to regulate. They burn, I buffer, they spike, I smooth.